It doesn't matter how great the care you give to your patients if you can't get them to show up to their appointment. There are thousands of reasons why people don't show up to appointments, but reducing no-shows should be a top priority within your practice. Unfortunately, you can't force your patients to show up to their appointment. No one has that power. But there are techniques you can adopt to test and encourage them to walk through the door. Hi everyone, I'm Matt Moneypenny, and today we're going to go over 7 techniques you can use to dramatically reduce patient no-shows. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button below and hit that alert bell icon so that you're notified when we post new helpful content. The first technique for you to use is automated appointment reminding. Ask yourself this question. After someone schedules their appointment at your practice, do you ever remind them about it again? Most modern-day practice owners would say yes. If you don't, understand that the majority of practices with no appointment reminding in place have an average patient no-show rate of over 10%. People are naturally forgetful, and automated appointment reminders will help your patients remember they're obligated to come to your office. The second technique I have for you builds off the first one. When using automated appointment reminders, use multiple methods, but don't overdo it. I bet that you could list off a handful of people you know directly who don't like texting right this very second. You also probably know people who practically live on their smartphones. This shows you that everyone has a preference on how they communicate. This is something to take into consideration when you're sending out automated appointment reminders. In order for reminders to truly resonate with your patients, you need to make sure that they're being tailored to the communication preference of their choosing. Ask them their preferred method of communication when they initially schedule an appointment. Not only will they be glad to tell you, they'll be more receptive to those reminders as well. The third technique to reduce your patient no-shows is actually a very popular sales technique. If you think about it, isn't getting patients to come to their appointment similar to landing a sales demo? Before I tell you this technique, understand that the last thing you want to do is guilt your patients who don't show up. Going the guilt trip route will end up encouraging them to switch their doctor. Instead, send them a message that acknowledges the appointment attempt. This is the "sorry we missed you" approach. Within the message, give them different options they can choose, like rescheduling. The fourth technique might be one of the most important and effective in this entire video. Draft and enforce a patient no-show policy. At some point, you'll run into patients who never seem to be able to make their appointment. If this happens to you, you need to draft up a strict no-show policy and enforce it. A no-show policy details to patients exactly what happens when they fail to come to their appointment. The most successful no-show policies include a time window a patient has to cancel an appointment, details the number of no-show occurrences a patient has before facing consequences, and explains those consequences to them. No-show policies are so effective because they're enforceable. If you implement the third technique I talked about in tandem with this one, you can make sure that when you send your acknowledgement email that you require the no-show patient to reply that they've read and understood your no-show policy. The fifth technique I have for you is to ensure that you're not overbooking. When you go into a restaurant that looks busy, you'll usually drop your date off and ask them to get the wait time. If it's too long, you'll go somewhere else and eat that night. Now obviously people don't come to the doctor to eat, but you understand my point. It's possible that the problem isn't your patients forgetting or not wanting to come to their appointment. Maybe they have no easy way to get to your office because they don't have a ride. Luckily, ride-sharing companies have recognized how they could help healthcare's no-show crisis, and they've started to partner with healthcare companies to drive people to their appointments. If you're a smaller practice and these services aren't quite willing to partner with you just yet, the least you could do is post the public transportation schedules in your office. The final technique I have for you to help reduce patient no-shows is to reward those who actually show up. You need to recognize those individuals who come into your office for their appointment. These patients are your lifeblood. One of the best ways to encourage people to come back starts by developing a strong relationship with them. It's essential for you to instill the human element into your practice. But this takes time. If you want to show immediate appreciation to those patients who show up to their appointments, you could send them handwritten thank you cards, birthday cards, holiday cards, or any other card that's very personal. These small touches go a long way. No matter what you do, you'll still face no-shows at some point throughout the life of your practice. But by implementing these 7 techniques, you're already on your way to encouraging people to come to their appointments. For more information on reducing patient no-shows, reach out to Etactics. And you already made it this far into the video, so you might as well like it, share it, and comment below.